Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video. Today we are reviewing a new concealer. This one here is from Becca. It is their new Ultimate Coverage Longwear Concealer. This one can be found in 16 different shades. I grabbed the shade Caramel to try out today, or Caramel, depending on how you'd like to pronounce that. It retails for $29 US, and you get 0.21 fluid ounces worth of product. And it has a shelf life of 18 months. So you have an entire year and a half to use it all up if you like it. Some of the key benefits for this concealer are that it is full coverage, long wearing. It also helps blur out pores, imperfection, uneven skin, and fine lines. It is water resistant and it is also nourishing. It has a blend of antioxidants that is not only going to help the skin while you wear it, but also over time. As far as how to use it, you're supposed to be able to apply it directly onto the skin, blend it out using your fingertips or a brush. I personally am going to be using my 3D blender, my 3D HD blender, in order to blend it out underneath the eye area. I really love this sponge because it's really pointy at the tip. I can really get underneath the eye, especially in that inner corner there. So that is how I'm going to be blending it out. First, I'll try my finger and then I'll blend it out using the sponge. And I'm also going to be setting this with a powder. It doesn't specifically state that you should, but I am going to in order to prevent it from settling into my fine lines. It claims to be able to blur fine lines, but it does not claim to be able to not settle into them. So that is why I'm going to be using just a little bit of my RCMA No Color powder in order to set the under eye area. And of course, like with all of my other concealer reviews, I am going to be using this concealer with and without a color corrector. The one that I personally love to use is also from Becca. It is their under eye brightening corrector. This one is in the shade medium to deep. So I'm going to be using a color corrector underneath the right under eye area and wear it underneath the concealer. And then on the left side, I'm not going to be color correcting. I'm simply going to be applying the concealer and see how that wears. So now I'm simply going to jump off camera really quickly in order to apply foundation onto the entire face, color correct the right under eye area before coming back and applying some of this concealer. Okay, so now I am back with a full face of makeup, color corrector underneath the right under eye area, just a little bit. And now it is time to conceal. So the website does state that for under eye darkness, for under eye circles, you're supposed to be able to just like dot some product on and then just blend it out. That's what it says in writing. However, I have seen this used for the under eye area on the Becca website, on their Instagram, and also on the Sephora website. In a video for dark circles, they actually do a triangle, like an upside down triangle here underneath the eye area, and then they blend it out with a sponge. So I think that's the route I'm going to take, just because I feel like I'd get better coverage that way, rather than, you know, dotting it and then blending it out. I don't feel like I'd get enough coverage like that. We'll see how it goes. Let's test this out. So I'm going to do just a small triangle here. Definitely feels like a thick, more creamy formula. Yeah, it's definitely thick, so I'm absolutely going to set it. Otherwise, it will move around, or I feel like it will. We'll see. So now I'm going to attempt to blend it out with my finger first, and then with the sponge. All right, now I'm going to blend it out a little bit more using my damp sponge here, my damp 3D HD. Okay, so this has given me pretty good coverage. However, I can still see some of my darkness peeking through here. I'm not sure whether or not I can layer this. It doesn't state that anywhere on the description of the concealers, so I'm not really sure whether or not I should. Let's see what we get on this side. Okay, so I'm not sure if I should just leave it like this or if I should build it up a little bit to see if we can get to that full coverage. I can definitely still see darkness peeking through this side, some peeking through here, just overall I can still see it. Let's add just a tiny bit more. Just a little bit more. Just down here. Okay, so that helped. Okay, so that definitely seemed to help. Now I'm going to set it with a little bit of powder. So I'm just going to take a little bit of the RCMA and apply it onto the under eye area in order to set the concealer in place. And we're just going to cross our fingers and hope that it doesn't move around. All right, so as of right now, I am definitely favoring the non-color corrected side. It just looks a lot smoother. It's giving me really nice coverage. The corrected side, the color corrected side, it just seems like there might be too much going on under the eye. So now I'm gonna zoom you all in so that you can see exactly what I am talking about underneath the eye area after initial application. Okay, so this is what the concealer looks like up close. This is what I'm talking about. It just looks a little bunched up right here, like there's just too much going on the color corrected side, whereas I don't really see a whole lot of that happening underneath this left side. Overall, I feel like coverage really is full. I don't really see my dark circles peeking through too much. My under eye area is quite hard to completely conceal. So this to me is full coverage, and yeah, I definitely prefer this side though. All right, so now that you've seen the concealer up close underneath the eyes, I'm simply going to jump off camera once more in order to finish off the rest of my makeup, and I will be right back. Okay, so now I am back with a full face of makeup, and I'm not really sure how I feel about this concealer as of right now. It looks fine, but it's kind of reminding me of a concealer that I reviewed not too long ago, and I didn't really like the way that one turned out. I'm hoping that this one doesn't do the same, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It is currently 11:25 in the morning. I do plan on wearing this for an entire 8-hour day, and I do plan on coming back halfway through the day in order to show you all some close-ups and to talk to you a little bit about how the concealer has been wearing up to that point. So I will see you all back here in a few hours for my midday check-in. Okay, so now I'm back for my midday check-in. It is currently 3:54. So I've had this concealer on for a little over 4 hours now, and it's doing exactly what I'd hoped it wouldn't, but it is. And I'm just, I'm not liking it. I'm not liking it at all. I'm going to zoom you all in so you can get a better look at the under eye area after 4 hours of wear. Okay, so this is what the under eye area currently looks like. It is a slippery mess underneath the eyes. It is definitely separating, settling, and just kind of all over the place. I can say that it is still somewhat concealing, especially in the spots that it has not separated in. But just overall, it just looks awful right now. It looks pretty awful. So this is exactly what I was afraid of. This concealer it felt like the Tarte Creaseless. So if you saw my review with that one, this is pretty much almost exactly the same thing as far as texture and how it's wearing. I don't like it one bit. It has definitely settled into all of my fine lines. There are even some spots over here that I just noticed on this side that are just completely without any color, any pigment. So I'm going to try to alleviate this situation that I have going on here underneath the eye area. This is the 3D HD blender that I used earlier in the day in order to set the concealer and blend it out and whatnot. It's still damp, but very, very, very little. So I'm hoping that this will allow me to blend it out a little bit and help it from looking like a complete disaster. Okay, it helped a tiny, tiny bit. But yeah, it's not working out so well. All right, so doing that did help a little bit, and I will show you all a close-up here. Okay, so as you can see, it did help a little tiny bit, but I lost a little bit of coverage here and a little bit of coverage here. However, it doesn't look as bad as it did before I did that just now. Yeah, we'll see how the rest of the day goes. So that is it for my midday check-in. I do plan on finishing off my day at around 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, something like that tonight in order to give this concealer a full day's worth of wear. And yeah, we'll see how it turns out at the end of the day. So I will see you all back here in a few hours for my final thoughts on this new Becca concealer. Okay, so now I'm back for my final check-in. It is currently 8:15, so I've had this concealer on for almost a good solid 9 hours. Now, before I get into my overall opinion of this concealer, I'm going to zoom you all in one last time so that you can get a better look at the under eye area after 9 hours of wear. Alright, so this is the current situation underneath the eye area. As you can see, it really accentuated my lines as the day went on. It just seemed like they were a lot more pronounced. I did not have all of these going on at the beginning of the day, and now I do. It just looks dry underneath the eye area. It did settle into my fine lines. It did separate underneath the eye. And at this point, I'm not really getting much coverage. Or I'm getting some coverage, but definitely not full. So in conclusion, this is definitely a no from me. As soon as I put it on, like I mentioned at the beginning of the day, it just reminded me of the Tarte Creaseless Concealer. What used to be the Maracuja, just repackaged. The one that I just recently reviewed. It's very thick, it's tacky, it's creamy, but not in a good way. It's heavy. It is a heavy concealer. So I can see why they would call it full coverage. When you first apply it, it is very heavy. It's full coverage. But as the day goes on, it just does not stay smooth. It does not stay put. I set it with a little bit of powder, and not even that could help it from settling into my fine lines. And then once I tried to, kind of blend those away and make the under eye area appear a little bit more smooth midday, it just kind of took away from the coverage a little bit. But overall, no, this is definitely not a concealer that I would recommend to anyone that has a similar under eye situation as me. If you have dark circles, fine lines, this is probably not something that you're going to love. But if you've tried the Tarte Creaseless and you like that, then you're going to love this, because this is pretty identical to that concealer. So that completes today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. I truly hope that you enjoyed this review and that you found it helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on future product reviews, makeup tutorials, anything beauty related. And also don't forget to follow me on all of my other social media platforms where I love to interact with you all. I am All Beauty by Sarah with an H on Instagram, and All Beauty by Sarah without the H on Snapchat and Twitter. As always, take care, and I will see you all in my next video. Mwah! Bye.